humanity thought it was alone. Then came the signal and ancient galactic elders. Treaty proving Earth has secretly shaped interstellar politics for millennia. This 8-episode HFY saga follows Dr. Mira, Kade, and Captain Elias row as they uncover a cosmic pact older than civilization itself. From mysterious star signals to a galaxy-wide vote that could save or destroy every living world. The suspense never lets go. What you'll experience a hidden history of Earth's power among the stars' ancient treaties, alien councils, and shadowy fleets, high-stakes choices that decide the fate of the galaxy if you love humans, are special HFY stories, space intrigue, and edge-of-your-seat suspense. This series was made for you. Subscribe and join the Starbound community as we pull back the cosmic curtain. The night sky above the Andes was clear and sharp, a river of cold stars stretching forever. Dr. Mira, Kade leaned over the console inside the Cerro del Sol Observatory, rubbing tired eyes. The room smelled of coffee and dust. For hours she had listened to the quiet hum of computers and the slow tick of the tracking motors. Her shift was almost over when the telescope's monitor flickered. A single green light blinked where no alert should be. She frowned. "System glitch," she muttered. The blinking continued, steady and calm. Numbers scrolled across the screen. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. Prime numbers. Mira's heart gave a quick jump. Random cosmic noise could make strange patterns, but not like this, never this clean. She pulled her chair closer and tapped for a deeper scan. The observatory's receiver locked on a narrow signal coming from deep space. Near the dark gap between constellations Lyra and Cygnus. "Control? This is Kade," she said into the intercom. "I have an anomaly on band 42, only static answered. The rest of the team had gone to dinner in the small village below." She was alone on the mountain. The numbers kept arriving. 13, 17, 19, 23. Then a sudden pause. The green light steadied into a long, unbroken glow. Letters formed on the screen, jagged but clear, like handwriting and lightning. "Blue home. The treaty awakens." Mira stared. Blue home Earth. Her breath misted in the cold room. A low hum built in the walls, as if the mountain itself had begun to sing. She felt it in her teeth. The computers flickered, then every screen turned black dot outside. A bright pulse lit the horizon for a heartbeat like silent lightning with no storm. Mira grabbed her field recorder and stepped out onto the steel balcony. The stars looked the same, but the air trembled. In the valley below, every village light went dark at once. The world, it seemed, had just exhaled, half a world away. Deep under the Atlantic, a submarine cable carried the same numbers to data centers in New York, Lagos, and Mumbai. Servers crashed as the sequence primes from 2 to 89 overloaded routers with a rhythm too precise to be noise. Air traffic controllers in London watched their radar screens paint an unexpected shape. A perfect circle, miles wide, hanging over the North Atlantic. No aircraft, no weather system, just a ring of silent interference. In the White House Situation Room, a tired technician whispered, "It's like the signal knows where we're looking." Back on the mountain, Mira struggled to restart the main array. The emergency lights flickered crimson. She pressed her palms against the cold console. "This can't be natural," she said to no one. A sudden crackle broke the silence. The observatory's ancient loudspeaker came alive with a deep, layered voice, human and not human at once. "Children of blue, signatories must gather." The interval closes. The voice faded into static. Mira's knees went weak. She steadied herself on the desk, her mind racing through every explanation. A prank, a military test, an echo from some old satellite. None fit, the words were too deliberate. She typed a rapid message to her mentor at the European Space Agency, attaching every shred of data. Before she could send it, the screen flashed white and erased itself. The file was gone. Her satellite phone buzzed with a single text. "Who hears the call?" No number, no origin. 2 hours later, the signal spilled into the wider world in Istanbul. Archaeologist Levin Dorhan paused mid-lecture as the lights dimmed and the classroom speakers hissed. The same prime numbers scrolled across the projector. Even though it wasn't connected to the internet, in a crowded Tokyo subway, commuters' phones vibrated simultaneously. Screens displayed the same message Mira had seen. The treaty awakens. Social media erupted with shaky videos of flickering skies and silent lightning. Hashtags multiplied. Hashtag Blue Home. Hashtag Prime Storm. Hashtag Galactic Ping. Governments issued calm statements about solar activity. But power grids from Chile to Canada surged and failed. Dawn crept over the Andes. Mira had not moved from the control room window. She watched the sky lighten from deep violet to gray. The humming in the mountain had stopped, but the sense of being watched had not. A knock startled her. She turned. No one stood at the door. Another knock, 3 soft raps, measured and polite. "Who's there?" Her voice cracked. The door opened on its own. Cold air swept in, carrying the scent of ozone. A drone, no larger than a crow and made of smooth black metal, hovered silently. Its surface reflected the pale sunrise. The drone projected a faint hologram into the room, a map of the Milky Way. Billions of points of light swirling in a slow dance. One star pulsed blue. Earth-sun lines of alien script circled it like a crown. The drone spoke in the same layered voice. "Summoning of signatories commences. Blue Home must attend." Before Mira could reach for her phone, the drone folded in on itself with a sound like rushing water and vanished, leaving only a thin shimmer in the air, far below. The village lights flickered back to life. The world seemed to breathe again, as if nothing had happened, but Mira knew better. She replayed the words in her head. "Children of Blue, signatories must gather. A treaty. A gathering. Something older than every nation on Earth, calling no after centuries of silence." She imagined the prime numbers racing through cables and satellites, touching every corner of the planet. Whoever sent them wanted all of humanity to hear. Mira pressed her palm against the cool metal rail of the balcony. The rising sun painted the mountains gold, but the beauty felt sharp, dangerous. Whatever had reached out tonight was not done, and neither, she realized, was she, with a final glance at the empty sky. Mira whispered to herself, "The treaty awakens. But what does it want from us?" No answer came, only the endless quiet of a universe that suddenly did not feel empty at all. A hot wind swept across the Turkish plateau. Carrying the smell of dry stone and salt, Dr. Levent Orhan knelt at the edge of the dig site. Brushing dust from a fragment of metal, the morning sun burned the back of his neck, but he hardly noticed. This object did not belong to any known time. The fragment was smooth and cold, like polished steel, yet it glittered with a faint inner light. Even stranger, it had been buried beneath layers of rock more than 12,000 years old. Levin turned to his assistant Ayla, radiocarbon. He asked. She shook her head, eyes wide. "Impossible reading," it says. "Older than the Ice Age. Older than human civilization itself," before he could reply. A distant boom echoed across the hills, followed by a rolling tremor. Dust rained down from the dig walls. "Earthquake," Allah whispered. Levent looked up at the cloudless sky. "No," he said softly. "That came from above." 3 nights had passed since the mysterious global signal, the prime numbers. The phrase, "the treaty awakens." Governments insisted it was a cyber attack. But Levent, like millions of others, had seen the strange lights in the sky. And now, this discovery. He ran a portable scanner over the fragment. Lines of symbols glowed across the surface, alive with blue fire. They were not any script he knew yet. They felt deliberate, like a message. Allah's voice trembled. "It's..." Speaking indeed, the lines shifted as if reacting to their presence, forming shapes that resembled constellations. Levent swallowed hard. "Photograph everything. Don't touch the symbols." By noon, the dig site buzzed with tension. A deeper trench revealed the rest of the object, a tablet the size of a doorway, buried upright in the earth like a silent sentinel. Its metal surface shimmered as if it remembered the stars. Reporters arrived before sunset. Drawn by rumors of a cosmic artifact, Levent barely had time to cover the tablet with tarps when a dark helicopter thundered overhead. It carried no markings. Men in gray uniforms stepped out, their movements sharp and practiced. A tall woman with silver hair approached, flashing credentials that bore only a single word: unified. "I'm Director Solon," she said calmly. "This site is now under international security. You will cooperate." Levant's stomach tightened. "This is a scientific excavation, not a military base." Solon met his gaze with eyes like polished stone. "This is no longer only science. The object you have found is linked to the global signal." He hesitated. "How do you know that?" She leaned closer. "Because it woke up when the signal arrived. That night, while the soldiers set up perimeter lights, Levent sneaked back into the trench. He couldn't stop thinking about the way the symbols had rearranged themselves. He brushed away the tarp and shone his flashlight on the metal surface. The tablet glowed faintly, like pulsing with a heartbeat rhythm. New lines of script were forming slowly, deliberately. They shaped themselves into a map of the night sky. At its center, a single point of light burned bright blue, Earth's sun. Words appeared in a language no human had written, yet Levent understood their meaning without translation. Children of blue, envoys remember. The interval nears. The air grew heavy as though the planet itself listened. Levent felt the vibration in his bones. Behind him, gravel crunched. He spun to see Director Solon standing at the edge of the trench. Her face was pale in the flashlight's glow. "You feel it too," she said quietly. Levent nodded. Able to speak, Solon stepped closer. "This is not the first envoy site. There are others: Siberia, Patagonia, under the ice of Greenland. All awakened when the signal came." He stared at her. "Why haven't we heard of them?" "Because humanity was not ready," she replied. "Until now." Far above, unseen by those at the dig, satellites shifted their orbits without command. Military radars across the world caught fleeting images of structures impossibly large, merging from deep space. No known agency claimed them. In the Oval Office, an encrypted briefing reached the president. The final line chilled every advisor in the room. The signatories assemble. Earth is expected. Back in Turkey, a cold wind swept over the plateau as the stars ignited overhead. Levent and Solon watched the tablet shimmer brighter, casting the trench in soft blue light. The symbols danced faster, forming a pattern of 3 interlocking circles, a low voice deep. Resonance rose from the metal itself. It spoke not in sound, but directly into their minds. The forgotten envoys kept their charge. The treaty stands. Children of blue must claim their seat. Levent staggered, gripping the trench wall. Visions flooded his mind, towering beings of light meeting ancient humans under a sky full of twin moons. Handshakes across species. A contract written in the language of stars. The visions vanished as suddenly as they came. Solon steadied him. "You saw it?" "Yes," he whispered. "But how? Who were they?" "The elders," she said. "Older than time, older than this galaxy. They chose Earth long before we were ready." A sound like distant thunder rolled across the plateau, though the sky remained clear. The soldiers shouted, pointing upward, high above. A formation of lights, 7 perfect orbs, drifted silently across the stars. They moved in a pattern too precise for meteors, too silent for aircraft. Levent felt a shiver of awe and fear. The message was unmistakable. "We are watching." The tablet's glow softened. But its final words remained, etched in living light. Interval closes. Summoning begins. Solon exhaled, her breath white in the cold night air. "The world will change after tonight," she said. "No government can hide this now." Levent looked again at the blue point at the center of the star-mapped sun, burning like a promise. For the first time, he felt the weight of something far greater than history. The treaty was real. The envoys had never left, and the countdown had begun. Night fell over New York City like a heavy curtain. From the top of the East River Bridge, the skyline shimmered till the lights across Manhattan flickered, dimmed. and then glowed an eerie blue dot. Captain Elias Rowe noticed it first from his small apartment in Queens. A retired astronaut, he still woke at the faintest shift in air pressure, the smallest tremor. Tonight the air itself felt wrong, dense, and sharp. As though charged with silent lightning, he set down his glass of water and glanced at the clock. 11:11 p.m., every digital number in his home appliance display stove. Phone, even his old wristwatch froze at that time. A low hum began, like a giant heart beating beneath the city. Across the river, the United Nations headquarters buzzed with chaos. World leaders, summoned for a sudden midnight emergency session, filled the marble halls. Only a handful knew the real reason: the prime number signal. The glowing artifacts found in Turkey and Greenland, in the strange formation of 7 orbs now visible from nearly every continent. Inside the Security Council chamber, monitors flashed as interpreters struggled to keep up. Power flickered. Delegates whispered about the treaty, a name no one officially explained. A nervous technician leaned toward the Secretary General. "We're picking up a drone anomaly," he said. "It's descending fast over the East River. Size unknown." The chamber doors swung open before anyone could respond. A gust of cold air swept through the room. Elias, drawn by instinct more than reason, had already stepped outside his apartment. The humming intensified as he crossed the bridge. A sudden burst of blue light washed over the water. From the dark sky, something descended silent, immense. It was not a ship in the usual sense. It had no edges, no engines, only a floating sphere of mirrored black, the size of a city block. Its surface rippled like oil, reflecting the skyline in broken fragments. People stopped in the streets below, pointing, phones raised. The sphere hovered directly above the United Nations building. Elias felt the hair on his arms lift as a beam of pale light stretched from the sphere to the riverbank. Solid and shimmering, inside the council chamber. Delegates gasped as the beam cut through the ceiling without harm, projecting a galaxy-wide star chart in mid-air. Planets spun in silence. A single blue point pulsed at the center. Then the voice came, low, layered, neither male nor female. "Children of blue, the signatories assemble. The interval nears completion. Prepare to stand among us." The translators froze, realizing no translation was needed. The message came directly into every mind. A ripple of panic moved through the room. Some delegates shouted. Others prayed. Elias stepped closer to the glowing path. Every instinct told him to retreat, but something deeper urged him forward. The beam hummed with a rhythm that matched his heartbeat. When he placed a foot on it, the surface felt solid, like cool glass. He walked toward the sphere as he approached. The mirrored surface opened without a sound, revealing a chamber of soft light. Inside, he felt weightless. Images burst into his mind, planets and spiral arms. Colossal councils of alien races, beings of light and shadow debating under stars. He saw humans among them, primitive, wearing furs, standing bravely as if they belonged. A voice filled his thoughts, gentle yet immense. "Elias Rowe, you have traveled beyond your world before. You will guide your people again. The treaty endures." He tried to speak, but no words came. Instead, the images sharpened. A colossal hall floating in black space, a circle of luminous entities, and a vacant seat glowing the color of Earth's oceans. "The seat of blue awaits," the voice said. "Your species must answer. Delay invites chaos." Then, as suddenly as it began, the vision faded. Elias found himself standing on the bridge again, the sphere receding into the night sky like a retreating tide. The hum ceased. Manhattan's lights returned to normal, but the star chart, the galaxy itself, still glowed faintly above the East River, visible to millions. It rotated slowly, lines of alien script orbiting the pulsing blue point. Sirens wailed across the city. Helicopters circled. News drones broadcast the image worldwide. Inside the United Nations chamber, chaos boiled. Delegates argued over military action, over contact protocols, over fear. Director Solon, who had flown from Turkey with Levent Orhan only hours earlier, raised her voice above the clamor. "Listen to the pattern. she shouted. The treaty is calling for representatives, not war. Levent stood beside her, clutching a small sample of the ancient tablet. The artifacts predicted this exact hour, he said. They said children of blue must attend. This is not an invasion. It's an invitation. Some leaders nodded, others scowled. But all had seen the same thing, the star map, the pulsing seat, the unmistakable summons. On the bridge, Elias stared at the fading sphere. His mind raced with questions. Why him? Why now? He had left space exploration years ago, scarred by the death of his crew during a failed Mars mission. Yet the vision in the sphere had felt undeniable. A soft chime came from his wrist watch, long dead since. 11:11 p.m. The hands moved again, but backward, spinning toward midnight. A single word glowed faintly on the cracked screen, summoning. Elias whispered to the empty air, "What do you want from us?" The river answered with silence, deep and endless. Across the planet, similar events unfolded. In Cairo, a beam of light pierced the Great Pyramid without harm, projecting the same galactic map. In the Amazon, tribal elders reported voices in forgotten dialects, urging them to stand for blue and far beyond Earth. Telescopes recorded sudden movements among distant stars' fleets, of unknown origin converging toward the solar system. Scientists struggled to calculate their speed. They would arrive in weeks, not centuries. As dawn approached New York, the last glow of the star map faded from the sky, but everyone who had seen it carried the image in their minds, sharp as a dream they could not shake. In a quiet corner of the UN building, Director Solon gathered Levent and a small circle of officials. Her voice was low but steady. "The elders are not waiting for our fear to settle," she said. "They've called the signatories to a conclave. Earth holds a permanent vote, and the deadline is near." She looked to Elias, who had been escorted inside moments earlier, still pale from his encounter. "You've already been chosen," she told him. "Will you stand for us when the council convenes?" Elias stared at the rising sun through the tall windows. The city felt suddenly fragile, like a child's drawing against the vast, cold universe. "I don't know what I am," he said softly, "but I will stand." Outside, the hum of the city returned. Taxis, horns, distant sirens. But high above, beyond the reach of any telescope, unseen eyes watched and waited. The elders were real. The shadows were moving. And the treaty's final summons had only just begun. The blackness around Saturn shimmered like a living curtain. Against the endless dark, the planet's rings glowed silver and sharp. Each band a frozen river of ice. Inside the Artemis IV, Captain Elias Rowe floated in silence, his breath a slow rhythm in the suit helmet. Across from him, Dr. Mira Kade tightened the straps on her harness. Eyes wide at the sight outside the viewport. They were not supposed to be here. No mission had been planned. Yet the coordinates beamed to every space agency on Earth numbers, hidden inside the prime sequence. Signal pointed to this exact location. Behind them, Director Solon's voice cracked over the comm. "All readings confirm it," she said. "A wormhole is forming, and it wants us." A faint pulse, deep and steady, rippled through the void. The empty space beside Saturn wavered like heat above asphalt, then peeled open. A whirl of silver and midnight blue spiraled outward, forming a perfect circle large enough to swallow a moon. Mira's breath caught. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's a doorway," Elias said, gripping the controls. From the center of the vortex, a beam of soft light reached toward them, not pulling, but inviting. Their instruments went wild, magnetometers spinning, clocks resetting. On Earth, millions watched the live broadcast. Every major network carried the feed. The world held its breath as the Artemis IV edged closer to the impossible. Inside the craft, a soft chime echoed in Elias's helmet. It was the same note he had heard on the bridge in New York, low and commanding. "Children of blue, seed of the treaty awaits. Come forth." The words arrived not through speakers, but directly into their minds. Mira's hands trembled. "They're expecting us," she said. Elias nodded, jaw tight. Let's answer, with a slow burn from the thrusters. The Artemis IV glided into the shimmering circle. The stars outside stretched, blurred, then disappeared. For a heartbeat there was nothing. No sound, no light, no weight. Elias felt his thoughts scatter like dust in wind. Then the darkness blossomed into a chamber of impossible scale. It was not empty space. Not a planet, but something in between. A vast cathedral of dark matter glass. Walls of translucent crystal curved toward infinity, glowing with constellations that shifted like living murals. Streams of violet light flowed beneath a transparent floor, each current carrying entire galaxies like glittering fish. Mira gasped. This place, it's older than the stars. At the chamber's center stood a circular dais of black stone. Around it, 12 towering figures formed a ring. They were shapes of light and shadow, some vaguely humanoid, others like floating seashells of pure energy. Azor what might have been a Zorn like distant suns, the Elders. A deeper voice filled the chamber, layered and resonant, echoing inside their skulls. Welcome, children of blue. The interval nears its end. The Treaty of Signatories calls you to your seat. Mira stepped forward, her boots ringing softly on the black stone. We are from Earth, she said, her voice small against the vastness. We don't even know what treaty you speak of. A tall elder of emerald light leaned closer, its form shifting like smoke. Your world was chosen in the age before memory. When your kind was still fire and stone, we saw the seed of empathy. We bound the galaxies to a pact, no war of extinction, no empire of one. Each great species holds a vote, and one seat was left for those yet to awaken. You, Mira's heart pounded. But humanity is still learning. Fight. We divide. The Emerald Elder's glow softened. All species begin in chaos. Your capacity for mercy outweighs your violence. That is why the seat of blue was promised. Elias felt a strange pull toward the center of the dais. The black stone brightened under his boots, as though recognizing him. Another elder, his form a cluster of golden spheres, turned toward him. Elias Rowe, you have crossed the void. You will speak for your world. Elias shook his head. I'm no ambassador. I'm just a pilot. A pilot who survived loss, yet chooses unity, the voice replied. That is the measure of a signatory. Images flashed in his mind, glimpses of alien worlds, treaties etched in light, ancient councils where decisions shaped galaxies. He felt the weight of countless civilizations waiting for Earth's voice. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the chamber. The streams of violet light beneath the floor flickered. An elder of crimson flame raised its massive head. The silent species approach, it warned. Their patience fades. Mira turned to Elias. What's happening? The Emerald Elder answered, its tone darkening. One faction rejected the treaty eons ago. They seek to end its hand to erase those who uphold it. If they arrive before you claim your seat, the pact will break. War will burn the stars. A chill ran through Elias. How long? Your world's next rotation around its star, came the reply. 1 year by your measure. Then the conclave will decide order or chaos. The dais beneath Elias glowed brighter. A soft blue that mirrored Earth's oceans. A symbol of the planet appeared continents, clouds, and the familiar swirl of storms. The Emerald Elder extended a hand of pure light. Take the seat of blue. Accept the responsibility. Or let silence claim your kind. Mira looked at Elias, her eyes wide. This is bigger than any government, she whispered. Bigger than anything we ever imagined? Elias swallowed hard. In his mind he saw the faces of his lost crew, the fragile beauty of Earth, the countless lives unaware of this cosmic council. He felt the weight of every heartbeat on his planet. I will speak, he said finally, but I can't speak alone. Humanity must choose together. The elders inclined their luminous heads, then return. Prepare your world. When the interval closes, the vote will be cast. The chamber brightened until it was pure white. Elias felt a sudden tug, a rush of motion. In an instant, he and Mira were back in the cockpit of the Artemis IV. Saturn's rings spinning below. Behind them, the wormhole began to close, its edges folding like petals of a dying flower. Before the last shimmer vanished, a final phrase echoed through their minds. Children of blue, the seed awaits. Delay invites the darkness. On Earth, every major observatory recorded the same event. A ripple of space-time near Saturn, then nothing. Governments demanded answers. Religions trembled. People filled the streets, some in celebration, others in fear. Elias removed his helmet and looked at Mira. Her eyes reflected the pale light of Saturn's. Rings? They've given us a choice, he said quietly. 1 year to decide the fate of the galaxy. The silence of space pressed around them, heavy and infinite, and far beyond the reach of any telescope. Unseen fleets gathered in the dark. The Artemis IV glided back into Earth's atmosphere like a silent arrow. Below, the Atlantic shimmered in moonlight. But the planet itself felt different, charged, alert. As if aware of their return, Captain Elias Rose stared through the cockpit glass, his thoughts heavy. The elders' voices still echoed in his mind. Children of blue, delay invites the darkness. 1 year to decide. Beside him, Dr. Mira Kade checked their instruments. Satellites are down across 3 continents, she said quietly. Global comms are failing. It started the moment we crossed back. Elias nodded. They know we're here. News of their encounter had already spread. The live broadcast of their entry into the wormhole had never cut off. Every nation had seen the impossible. By the time the Artemis IV touched down at a remote desert base, the world was no longer the same. Crowds gathered at spaceports and embassies. Some prayed. Some demanded war. Everyone wanted answers. Director Solon awaited them in the hangar, her face drawn but steady. She handed Elias a sealed tablet. This was transmitted the moment you re-entered orbit, she said. It's from the Elders. On the screen, alien symbols glowed and reshaped themselves into plain English. Clause 0. The custodians of blue will decide the next galactic succession. Mira whispered the words aloud. Galactic. Succession? Solon exhaled. They're saying Earth casts the deciding vote for the next cosmic leadership. We our species decide who governs the galaxy. Elias felt the weight of the sentence settled like a mountain on his chest. All of it depends on us. Within hours, the world's leaders convened in a top-secret summit beneath Geneva. Presidents, premiers, monarchs, generals all crowded a circular chamber built for nuclear war talks, now repurposed for something far stranger. Holographic projections displayed the Elders' message, Clause 0 glowing in blue fire. A storm of voices filled the room. Some leaders argued that Earth should seize power, declare itself ruler. Others warned that claiming the seat could spark a war with species humanity had never even seen. A president from the global south stood, his tone firm. If this is true, we must vote as one planet. No nation can speak alone. A European delegate shot back. Unity is a dream. The Elders may have given the power, but we decide how to use it. Arguments rose like thunder, while politicians clashed. Strange events spread across the world in the Indian Ocean. A glowing spiral of light appeared, rising from the waves like a liquid galaxy. In the Siberian tundra, massive stone monoliths, long buried, surfaced overnight. Covered in the same symbols as the Turkish tablet, animals across Africa migrated in perfect circles. Guided by a force no scientist could explain, and in the skies over South America, satellites recorded vast, dark shapes moving just beyond the atmosphere fleets, without identification, silent and patient. Late that night, Elias stood on a Geneva balcony, staring at the Alps. The stars above seemed brighter, closer, as if listening. Mira joined him, her face pale in the moonlight. Every telescope shows movement, she said. Something massive is approaching from interstellar space. No heat signatures. No known drive. They'll be here in months. The silent species, Elias murmured. The ones who rejected the treaty, they'll try to stop the vote, Mira said. Clause 0 gives us the deciding voice. They won't let that happen. Inside the chamber, the debate raged through the night. Director Solon called for quiet. Clause 0 is more than a seat, she said. It's a test. The elders gave humanity this power because of our capacity for empathy, not conquest. If we fight among ourselves, we fail before we begin. Her words silenced the room for a heartbeat, but only a heartbeat. Then a senator from a powerful nation slammed a fist on the table. You expect us to hand over the fate of the galaxy without knowing what we gain? We take the seat, we rule. That's our right. No, another leader said sharply. The treaty is about balance, not empire. Voices rose again. Elias watched them, a cold realization forming. The elders knew this would happen, he said quietly to Mira. They gave us a year because they knew we'd fight each other first. Hours later, an urgent alert interrupted the summit. A new transmission pulsed through every communication network on Earth. Not from the elders, this one came from beyond the solar system. The image was simple but terrifying. A single, black spiral devouring stars as it advanced. A voice low and distorted followed, "Reject the treaty. Destroy the seat or be unmade." The silent species had spoken. The chamber fell silent. Even the most combative leaders felt the weight of the threat. Director Solon broke the stillness. This is the choice, she said. Accept the seed of blue and face them, or surrender and watch the galaxy burn without us. As dawn touched the Alps, Elias stepped outside again. The cold air bit his skin, but he barely felt it above the mountains. A strange aurora rippled across the sky, colors he had never seen silver threaded with crimson. It was the same pattern he had glimpsed inside the elder's chamber. He closed his eyes and heard the faint echo of their voice. Children of blue, choose with wisdom. He opened his eyes to see Mira beside him, her gaze fixed on the brightening horizon. They're giving us the final warning, she said. 1 year. One decision. No second chance. In the days that followed, humanity prepared. Scientists worked to decode the full treaty etched into the ancient tablets. They found fragments of an even deeper clause hidden in the data stream. The custodians of blue will not rule. They will guide. The vote must serve all, or all will fall. Clause 0 was not about power. It was about responsibility, choosing a future where no species dominated another. But as word of the silent species threat spread, fear grew. Militaries mobilized. Cities built shelters. Some nations secretly planned weapons they hoped could challenge the unknown. Elias knew those weapons would mean nothing. The coming conflict was larger than ships and bombs. It was a test of unity itself. One night, while the world argued and prepared, the stars over Geneva flared with sudden light. A new constellation appeared, its pattern unmistakable, 3 interlocking circles. The same symbol carved on the ancient tablet, across every continent. People looked up and felt the same silent message. The countdown had begun. The seed of blue awaited, and humanity's final choice would decide the fate of the galaxy. The world had only 6 months left, every calendar. Every clock, every heartbeat seemed to tick toward a single moment. The vote, the clause from the elders still burned across every broadcast screen. Every news feed, the custodians of blue will decide the next galactic succession. At first, people thought the fear would fade. It never did. It only deepened. A world under strange skies, on a cold dawn in Nairobi. Schoolchildren watched the horizon glow with colors unknown to Earth's liquid. Silver and deep violet sliding across the sky like ink. In the Caribbean, fishermen reported waves moving in perfect circles, as if the ocean itself was breathing. Over the deserts of Chile, the Atacama radio arrays picked up a steady heartbeat pulsing from deep space. It matched the human cardiac rhythm exactly. Dr. Mira Kade stood in the observatory tower of Geneva's summit base, recording every anomaly. The planet is changing, she said quietly. Or being changed. Captain Elias Rowe joined her, his eyes fixed on the streaking lights above. Not just Earth, he replied. Something in the whole system is aligning. The elders called it a conclave beacon. Mira nodded, uneasy. The vote isn't just a meeting. It's a signal to the galaxy. Everyone can see we're almost ready. Nations in conflict inside the underground chambers of the World Council. Arguments sharpened like knives. Some leaders demanded that Earth claim the galactic throne outright. Why guide when we can rule? Shouted a delegate from a major power. With this vote, humanity can become the first empire of the stars. Others pleaded for caution. If we choose power, we invite war, warned the ambassador of a small island nation. The silent species already threatens us. Rule will bring destruction before we begin. Director Solon tried to keep the council steady. The elders chose us for empathy, she said. If we betray that, we lose everything. Unity is our only shield. Her words carried weight, but whispers of secret alliances spread through the room. Spies traded information, militaries stockpiled weapons, and hidden labs worked on technologies no treaty could limit. The silent species nears at the edges of the solar system. Telescopes tracked a fleet of dark shapes. No heat signatures. No radio chatter. Only a shadow swallowing starlight. Analysts named it the Silent Armada. They calculated it would reach the orbit of Neptune within months. Every broadcast carried the same warning message they had sent before. Reject the treaty. Destroy the seat or be unmade. Panic spread. Some cities rioted. Others built massive underground shelters. Religious leaders proclaimed the end of days. Elias studied the images night after night. They don't want the vote to happen, he said to Mira. They want to break us before we stand. Mira stared at the silent fleet. They don't understand, she whispered. Clause 0 isn't about ruling. It's about balance. Maybe they fear a galaxy where no one dominates. A message from the elders one evening. As a crimson aurora rippled across the Alps, the elders spoke again. Their voice, neither male nor female, filled every device on Earth at once. Children of blue, the hour nears. Remember the covenant? The vote must serve all, or all will fall. Then the message ended, leaving only the soft hum of power lines and stunned silence. Director Solon addressed the world soon after. This is not a choice of conquest, she said to billions watching live. This is a choice of conscience. We must speak as one people, lore, not at all. Earth's heartbeat in the following weeks. Something extraordinary happened. Across continents, strangers began to act as if moved by a single unseen rhythm. Cities held spontaneous peace gatherings. Children in different languages began drawing the same three-circle symbol, the mark of the treaty, without ever being taught. Monks in remote mountains reported dreams of a vast council where every star had a voice. Mira recorded the data with awe. It's as if the planet is sinking to a shared mind, she told Elias. The elders. Maybe they're preparing us for unity. Elias looked out over Geneva's shimmering skyline. Or testing us. If we can't hold together now, we never will. The countdown 1 month before the vote, the beacon flared. A column of light shot from Earth's magnetic poles into space, visible from the moon like a torch. The dark fleet beyond Neptune slowed, but did not stop. Director Solon ordered a final emergency summit. Leaders of every nation gathered in a chamber beneath the Swiss mountains. Guarded by drones and shielded from the stars, Solon spoke first. The elders require one voice. We will hold the vote here at midnight on the equinox. Humanity will speak as one. The debate was fierce, but shorter than before. Perhaps fear of the Silent Armada forged a fragile unity. Perhaps the strange global harmony was working. At last all agreed. A single council would represent the entire planet. 7 chosen arbiter scientists, philosophers, elders of faiths, and 1 child to speak for the generations to come. Mira was among them. A night of portents as the equinox approached. Omens filled the skies. Meteor showers rained like silver tears. Oceans shone with a blue light so bright satellites recorded them as false dawn. Even the moon pulsed faintly, as if beating with the same hidden heart. Elias stood with Mira on the summit balcony the night before the vote. He watched the stars wheel in perfect circles above the Alps. "They're watching," he said softly. Mira clutched the ancient tablet from Turkey, its surface glowing in the moonlight. "They've been watching all along," she answered. "This was never about power. It's about whether we can choose something better than domination." Far beyond, the silent armada crept closer. Sensors showed its dark hulls now within the orbit of Uranus. If they attacked, humanity could not stop them. Elias exhaled slowly. "Tomorrow decides everything." Midnight approaches. At the stroke of midnight, the arbiters would speak for all humankind. The elders would listen. The galaxy would answer, but in the cold blackness beyond Neptune. The silent species gathered in silence, their fleets poised like blades, and deep within Earth's core, a faint hum older than humanity began to rise. As if the planet itself was readying for its own final vote, the equinox night arrived like a held breath. From mountaintop to ocean floor, the world glowed with the pale blue light of the conclave beacon. Billions watched every screen, waiting for humanity's final decision. Inside the underground council chamber in Geneva, 7 arbiters sat at a circular table carved from black stone, the same dark matter glass found in the Elders' Station. Dr. Mira Kade felt the vibration of the planet through her chair, a low, steady hum, as if Earth itself was alive. Captain Elias stood at the edge of the room, silent, alert. Above them, satellites relayed the slow approach of the silent armada. The dark fleet had crossed the orbit of Uranus. Time was almost gone. Director Solon addressed the world through a single camera. "People of Earth," she said, her voice calm but firm. "The elders have given us this moment to speak for the galaxy. We vote not for rule, but for balance. Let the custodians of blue show the strength of unity." The arbiters prepared to cast their decision. But before the first vote could be spoken, the chamber's lights flickered. The walls shuddered. A shrill tone filled the air, signal none of the engineers recognized. "External breach," an officer shouted. "Not physical. Digital. Something's inside our systems." The lights dimmed to a cold silver. A new voice flooded every speaker, deep and resonant, like stone grinding against stone. "Children of blue, the elders deceive you. The treaty is a trap. We are the first and rightful rulers. Stand aside or fall." On the central display, a shape appeared. A tall, faceless figure of living shadow, eyes like twin voids. The silent species had arrived without ships, without warning inside their most protected chamber. Mira's pulse quickened. "It's not a signal," she whispered. "It's a presence." The figure's voice deepened. "The elders crave control. They bound the galaxy with lies. Their balance is slavery. Join us, or we erase you." Council members leaped to their feet. Some shouted in fear. Others demanded proof. The shadow turned toward Mira, as if it could see her through the screens. "Human child, your heart carries the code of the ancients. You know their falsehood. The elders did not give you power. They made you a weapon. Choose freedom. Break the vote." Mira's mind swirled. Memories of the elders' chamber returned, voices that seemed both kind and commanding. Had she misread them? Were they only another empire in disguise? Elias stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" He demanded peace or domination. The figure's eyes flared. "We want survival. The elders will consume all life to feed their order. Reject them and live. Accept them and die with the stars." The chamber trembled again. Technicians reported that the global beacon had gone dark. The silent armada was now within Neptune's orbit. Director Solon faced the holographic shadow. "If you seek peace," she said steadily, "why send a fleet of war?" The figure replied, "Because the elders never listened to words. Only strength." Its voice softened like a cold wind. "You have one chance. Break the treaty. Destroy the seat. Become free." Then the figure vanished. The lights returned. The beacon flickered back to life, but the air in the chamber felt colder. Thinner, like a warning left behind, the council erupted into chaos. Several arbiters argued that the silent species might be right. Perhaps we are only pawns, one said. If the elders can control the galaxy, maybe rebellion is the only freedom. Another slammed a fist on the table. They arrived with threats, not reason. We cannot trust those who promise destruction. Mira sat frozen. The elder's words echoed in her memory. The vote must serve all, or all will fall. Yet the shadow's plea gnawed at her. Break the treaty. Become free. Elias leaned close to her. They want you to doubt, he said softly. That's their weapon. Fear. But what if they're telling the truth? She whispered. Then we choose the truth ourselves, he replied. Not because they demand it, because we believe it. Outside, the sky over Geneva turned a dark, unnatural red. The beacon's blue light pulsed faster, as if matching a racing heart. News reports flashed across the chamber screens. Massive storms swept the Pacific. Electric arcs leaped from city skyscrapers like lightning in reverse. The entire planet throbbed with the tension of two cosmic wills. Director Solon raised her hands for silence. Enough, she said. The elders gave us a choice. The silent species offer only fear. We vote now. The 7 arbiters stood, one by one. They approached the black stone dais at the center of the room. The first spoke, for unity. The second, for balance. The third hesitated, then whispered, for freedom through peace. Each voice added to the echoing hum. When it was Mira's turn, she felt the weight of both destinies pressing on her chest. She stepped forward, tablet in hand, the ancient symbols glowing faintly. She met the gaze of the silent council. In the distant stars she could almost feel watching. Her voice was barely a breath. For all life, she said. For choice. A deep vibration rolled through the chamber like the sound of mountains shifting. The stone dais lit with a blinding white light. Above the earth, the conclave beacon exploded into brilliance. A column of silver and blue that reached past the moon. Every telescope caught the silent armada halting in space. The dark fleet shimmered as if struck by an invisible wave, and then the shadow returned. It loomed across every sky, vast and endless, blocking the stars. You choose chains, it thundered, then face the silence. The figure dissolved, but the threat remained. Heavy as the night, Elias turned to Mira, eyes sharp. They're not finished, he said. They'll come for us before the elders arrive. Mira clutched the glowing tablet. The vote is cast, she answered, her voice steady, though her hands trembled. Now the galaxy will answer. Beyond the blackness. The silent armada began to move again, this time directly toward Earth, the final. Confrontation had begun. The sky over Earth burned with blue fire. From deserts to frozen poles, every eye turned upward as the conclave beacon roared, brighter than the sun. The vote was finished, yet the danger had only begun. High above the planet, the silent armada closed in hundreds of black ships shaped like crescent blades, each blotting out stars as it moved. Global defenses were useless. Missiles could not lock on. Radars failed. In the underground Geneva chamber, Dr. Mira Kade stood at the glowing dais, heart pounding. The ancient tablet in her hand pulsed like a living heart. Around her, the other arbiters stared at the ceiling as a deep vibration rolled through the stone. Captain Elias, Rowe gripped the rail beside her. They're coming straight for us, he said. No hesitation this time. Director Solon raised her voice above the trembling floor. The vote is done. We stand as one world. We will not run. The first strike without warning, the silent armada fired. From orbit, thin spears of black light pierced the atmosphere. Cities across the globe flickered and dimmed as power grids collapsed. The ground shook with a force like an endless earthquake. But no buildings fell. No lives were taken. Instead, every electronic device, every phone, every camera lit with a single symbol. 3 interlocking circles glowing silver-blue. Mira gasped. The elders, she whispered. They're answering. Above the dark fleet, a new light bloomed in, immense ring of shimmering gold. It grew until it encircled the entire armada like a celestial crown. From the ring stepped shapes of pure radiance, the elders. Not ships, not flesh, but vast beings of light and geometry. Each a living star. Their voices filled the air, the earth, the minds of every human being. Children of blue, your choice is heard. Balance shall guide the galaxy. The silent armada shuddered. Their black holes fractured like cracked glass. A roar of static echoed as their leader's voice boomed across the planet. This is not balance. This is control. A wave of shadow leapt from the fleet toward the Elder's ring. Light met darkness in a silence deeper than any explosion. The test of unity on the ground. People everywhere felt the impact, not as sound but as a pressure in their chests. A question inside their thoughts. Will you stand together? Mira clutched the tablet. It burned with heat, symbols shifting faster than she could read. Her mind filled with sudden clarity. They're asking us, she said aloud. They need our will to hold the balance. Director Solon nodded. All of Earth must choose again. Not leaders. Everyone. Elias turned to the camera feed still active worldwide. People of Earth, he said, voice steady, join us. Focus on unity. One thought for all life. Across cities, villages, and remote wilds, billions closed their eyes. Farmers in fields, children in schools, pilots in darkened cockpits, every human heart answered. For all life, they whispered. For all life, they thought. A pulse of blue light erupted from the planet's surface, rising like a single heartbeat into the sky. The silent armada faltered. The black waves shrank. Their leader's voice cracked like breaking stone. You cannot hold the stars. The elders' chorus thundered back, not in anger, but in calm certainty. The galaxy holds itself. Balance is not chains. It is choice. The shadows screamed and dissolved into sparks that vanished among the constellations. The silent ships disintegrated, scattering like dust on a solar wind. Recognitions, the golden ring of the elders descended until it hovered just above Earth's atmosphere. One vast figure of light approached the planet, its form a shifting tapestry of stars. Children of blue, the voice said gently. You have chosen the path of all, not the rule of one. You are now prime arbiter. Your world will guide, not govern. You will speak when the galaxy falters. You will remind it of balance. Mira felt the words in her bones. Not a crown. Not an empire. A duty. The light touched the planet's magnetic field, and every ocean glowed with a soft blue sheen. The air hummed with a melody no human instrument could play. Your unseen influence, the elders said, has always been the quiet heart of the cosmos. Now it is known. After the storm, when the light faded, the skies cleared. The stars shone brighter than anyone could remember. The conclave beacon slowly dimmed, leaving only the steady warmth of sunrise. In Geneva, the council chamber stood silent. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Director Solon said, "It is done." Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with awe. Mira looked to Elias. "We didn't win," she said softly. "We accepted the responsibility we already had." He nodded. "That's the real power." A new dawn days later, reports confirmed the change. The strange global heartbeat had settled into a calm rhythm. The mysterious storms and lights faded. But people everywhere felt something different, an awareness that Earth was no longer a small, lonely world. Messages began arriving from distant stars. Simple greetings. Gentle signals of respect from civilizations once hidden. The galaxy knew Earth had spoken. Scientists found the ancient tablets warm to the touch, their symbols slowly rewriting into a new phrase. Balance begins at blue. Mira stood again at the summit balcony as dawn stretched across the Alps. The mountains glowed gold. The air carried a subtle hum, like music beyond hearing. Elias joined her, hands in his coat pockets. "Do you think they'll call on us again?" he asked. "They will," she said. "When the galaxy forgets balance, we will remind them." He smiled faintly. Prime Arbiter. Has a nice ring to it. Mira watched the brightening sky. It's not a throne, she replied. It's a promise. Above them, a single new star burned into existence, brighter than the rest. It pulsed 3 times slow, steady before settling into the tapestry of night. The sign was clear. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a voice, a guardian, a quiet, unseen hand guiding the endless stars.